It's episode 2 of building the ultimate crit bike, a bike which I think strikes the perfect balance between performance and price. In this episode, I'm going to get the bike finished so that it's ready to go and race. Right, let's not dilly-dally, let's go build. So in this episode, I'm going to be completing the build, which means I've got to do things like get the gears working, get the brakes working, install the bottom bracket, install the cranks, wrap the bar tape, and just generally make it look like a bike that's ready to go. Now, in case you haven't seen episode 1, let's have a quick recap while I get prepped, ready to start building. Also, can I just make sure no one's going to judge me for wearing exactly the same clothes for the second day in a row? Previously on GCNTech.
How's things?
Good. This is what we've got to work with. These bits of white that are here, could we like continue that theme up a little bit?
Yep.
While I get on and set up the gears and brakes, let me just reiterate why I chose an aluminium frame and a mid-tier group set. You see, before my days of racing as a professional cyclist, I was racing as an amateur cyclist, which meant buying and maintaining my own bikes. What did I typically use? Well, an aluminium frame and Shimano 105. The reason for that was durability, price, and performance, of which I feel like a bike setup like this hits the perfect balance of. Also, racing is tough on components and crashes happen, so you want a bike which is robust and parts which are not going to cost a fortune to replace. Right, back to the build.
Okay, so that's the front of the bike, and the hoses and cable housings are starting to look a lot neater, tidier and smarter. What we need to do now is work our way towards the back of the bike, carry on getting the rest of it done. But I'm pleased that this has taken shape as well. Just look at this section of the bike. We'll fix the rest in a minute. Status update, it's time to bleed the brakes. After that, all we've really got to do is sort out the bottom bracket and crank area, because I'm kind of leaving that to one of the last jobs to make sure that everything else is ready to go. And I mean, we're running out of stuff to put on a bike. This is starting to look like a bike. I'm starting to get excited. I hope you are too. And let's crack on, shall we? Once this bad boy is on the bike, we can sort the chain out, we can index the gears, and then we're quite literally cooking on gas. Let's get a crank in.
So here it is, the finished article. So let's head outside so I can tell you more about the spec and why I've set it up the way that I have.
So out here in the natural light, this bike is really continuing to blow my mind, and I've got to say, it really does look $1 million. However, the most important thing is that this bike and the build is certainly not ever going to cost you $1 million. So I've done some rough calculations on the prices. So here we go. Frame set is going to set you back around £1,000, euros or dollars. The wheel set, around £1,000, euros or dollars. The group set, the 105 12-speed mechanical version, so this is the R7100, it has a retail price of around £1,000, euros or dollars. So all in, once you factor in things like the saddle, tyres, handlebars, some of the little miscellaneous accessories and bits and pieces, I think it's fair to say this bike build is going to cost you in the region of somewhere between £3,000 and £3,500, euros or dollars, depending on where you are in the world. But hold your horses, there's one crucial thing which I seem to have missed off of the price list. Yeah, I haven't factored in custom paint. You know, not everyone's going to custom paint their bike. If you are going to do that, it really depends on what kind of custom paint you're going to go for. Something like this is obviously going to blow the budget big time, but something a little bit more reserved, less elaborate, could maybe cost you around the £500 marker. So with that in mind, let's have a super quick run through of the actual spec of this bike. We'll start up at the front.
So at the front of the bike, I've chosen the Vibe Carbon Aero handlebar in a 38cm wide option. Narrow by some people's standards, but for me, I feel like it's beneficial to help my riding position to be more aerodynamic, and being as narrow as it is, it makes it great for squeezing through gaps in a racing situation. Paired up with the bar is the Vibe Carbon stem. This is 120mm long and has a -8-degree angle to it. At the heart of the bike is the aluminium CAD 13 frame with a carbon fibre fork. And I've chosen aluminium because I believe for most amateur racers, as a frame material, it offers the perfect balance of weight, price and strength.
Helping build up the bike and make it complete are a set of Shimano 105 carbon fibre wheels. These are actually the R710 wheel set, and it's a C46, which means it's 46mm deep. These rims also have a 21mm internal rim width, which is about standard by modern wheel sets. Now, at the centre of the wheels, we've got 160mm rotors, front and rear. Tyres are Pirelli P0 races, fitted with Pirelli's TPU thermoplastic inner tubes to help keep the weight down a little bit. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be travelling with this bike, so I didn't really want the added stress and hassle of having a tubeless setup. Now, when we move down to the centre of the bike, at the crank, we've got the 105 2-speed dual chainring crank. Crank arms are 172.5mm long, and then the chainrings are a 34 and a 50. However, I am contemplating on whether I switch that to a 36-52, because as I mentioned, I'm going to go race this bike, and I might find that I actually want some harder gears.
If we move to the rear of the bike, I'm running an 11 to 30 tooth cassette because it offers smaller jumps between the gear ratios rather than covering a wider gear range. Now this 105 rear derailleur can handle up to an 11 to 36 tooth cassette, which is great for those long epic climbs and is also something that Shimano Ultegra or Shimano Dura-Ace cannot do.
And then if we move up towards the top of the bike, the seat post is of course proprietary to the bike. This is carbon fibre, and Dr. Bobby has sanded off the black finish on it, so we've got this exposed carbon fibre weave, which I think looks out of this world. And then on top of that, we've got a Stealth Pro saddle. This is 142mm in width. It's a short nose saddle and uses a carbon fibre composite for the base and carbon fibre rails. Move down to the centre of the bike, finishing it off, we've got some toe peak carbon bottle cages. Though truth be told, I probably don't need 2 bottle cages when the race I'm going to be doing is about an hour long. So one of those might be coming off. And of course, if you haven't noticed already, I haven't got any pedals on this bike because at the moment, I'm not sure what I'm going to put on there, but rest assured, they'll soon be on there. Right, most important job for this bike, Freehub sound check next. Not bad, not bad. Now, I know I've said over and over again throughout this video that this bike is all about finding the perfect balance between performance and price and building the ultimate crit bike. I think I've ticked the box and all of that. What we haven't mentioned yet is the weight. Now my scales are back at GCN Mega Base, so when I get back, we're going to weigh it. We'll put the price up on screen. Well, there we go, bike build complete, and I genuinely do feel like I have built the ultimate crit bike. It's fast, it's robust, it's agile, and let's face it, relatively easy going on the wallet compared to many modern bikes. I do want to say big thanks to Shimano for helping support this build and support what we do here. And I'm keen to have you let me know what you think of the bike in the comments section down below. So that means episode 1's done, episode 2 of the build is done. Episode 3 is going to be me actually racing this thing. Now, if you want to see that, you need to subscribe to GCN, because at the start of 2024, we're going to take me and this bike down under. We're going to race it and turn the pedals in anger. Right, I'm out of here for now. See you on the flip side, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks very much. See you later.